Vinny Goodwill, his brother from another. Vinny Goodwill of Yahoo Sports is here. And Vinny, there haven't been many opportunities where I've thought I have something in common with an NBA player. First of all, I'm 5'9", maybe 5'9", 5'8.5". I got no hops. I got no J. But you know what I do have, what most NBA players have this time of year, because if you check in any series, you're going to have this, aches and pains. Something with a knee, an elbow, a shoulder. What is this thing with my finger? My wrist? And it really, this is happening throughout the NBA postseason. And I was thinking last night, watching OKC in Dallas, it's kind of bothering me because I want to see everybody at 100%. But on the flip side, I've been watching basketball long enough to understand that never happens. That never happens in the playoffs. Nobody's ever 100%. And the beauty of it is seeing what a team can do when it's down a guy or two guys, or the guys are out there and they figure out how to, even though they're compromised, how do I get this business done? And so that's what I thought was going to be the story last night with Luka, who has been playing injured throughout the playoffs. Luka and the Mavericks, I'm like, oh, damn, they're about to go up 3-1. Luka makes these free throws. We got a tie game down the stretch. And I'm not just coming here. This is not a long way of just like saying Luka is less than. I'm just pointing out this is how close the games are, and this is how thin this is how thin the narrative recaps are. It's either today could have been Luka, oh man, he's playing hurt and they're up 3-1, but today it's Luka couldn't make a free throw. The MVP runner-up took over, 10 points, 4 assists in the fourth quarter, and here we are with a real series.
Now, the funny thing is, if you look at Oklahoma City, Michael, for one, those aches and pains that you have is because you old. That ain't nothing you got in common with an NBA player. You just old as hell. Okay, let's get that out there for the proceedings. Let's just lay that out there for the church today. On this Tuesday morning. Okay, we having Tuesday service here. Now,
okay. You go hit.
The thing
we got a healer in the house? We got any healers?
No, that ain't me. No, that ain't me. I don't have no holy water for you. I'm not selling it in a bag for $39.99. You know what I mean? Cash, card, anything like that. I'm not doing that. I'm not on my Creflo dollar here. All right? Yeah. But what I saw yesterday, you saw Dallas being on the hurt side and not being able to pull it out. I saw Oklahoma City being youthful and not playing well. Like, I don't think they played well at all, right? It was an ugly, ugly game. But that's kind of what we want to see in playoff basketball. You leave the pretty stuff to the play. You leave the pretty stuff to the regular season. I thought last night was a test of Oklahoma City's mettle. And can you pull out a game when the circumstances are not ideal, when you're on the road and not playing well, and all you have is one guy who's got it going? Jalen Williams didn't have it going. The only guy that had it going was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And as much as slow as he plays sometimes, as smooth as he plays, he got to those spots. He hit those jumpers. He was the only guy on that side of the floor, to me, that had a rhythm of an offense. You know what I mean? Kyrie was struggling. Luka definitely struggled. Luka is still wearing Lou Dort's cologne right now. He is probably sick of Lou Dort's deodorant at this point. You know what I mean? And that's the resilience that Oklahoma City has, is that maybe they're too stupid to know better. Maybe they're too stupid to know that they should have gone down 3-1 last night when they were down double digits all throughout the second half, and then boom.
At one point they were down 14 points, right? There. 14? Hey, should we be giving them credit? I mean, I think we should give them credit for this game, right? Give them credit for this game.
Absolutely.
But they are the 1 seed. They're the 1 seed taking on a Dallas team that, like, if you look at OKC, you say, yeah, that's a real championship contender. You're taking on Dallas, and it took something dramatic to avoid 3-1, a 3-1 hole that you're looking at. Did this correct any kind of questions that certainly would have come today? Because you know what we would have said today. I would have said it. I don't know if you would have said it too. You know, you had that great line a couple of weeks ago. I still think about it. You said it sounded like some dudes sitting around. They spend a lot of time listening to the Isley brothers, even though they don't. You know, they're young, but they're mature. But if they had lost that game last night, Vinny, we would have been like, oh, they're too young. They don't understand. Is that gone? Is that concern gone? We were this close to having that conversation.
Oh, we can still have the conversation. And I think I'm not going to take anything away from what they've done over the course of the regular season. But if you get the 1 seed, that means you just took the regular season more serious than anybody else. When you got the champion Denver Nuggets there and the Minnesota Timberwolves there, and look, it's not like they ran away with anything. They won some tiebreakers. You know what I mean? Like, let's keep it in perspective. But I don't think winning the 1 seed is necessarily an indication of how you're going to perform in the playoffs. The 1 seed is an indication of how healthy you are and how serious you take the 82-game exercise. Now it comes down to, can you go every other day against the same guy, against the same opponent, make the adjustments? And basically, to me, that was a heart check for Oklahoma City. That was let's see how tough you are right now. And I found out that as much as they are young, as much as the youth has come into play, those guys got heart. Those dudes don't scare. That is in a raucous atmosphere in Dallas. You're down 14. Luka and Kyrie don't have it going, but they will. And they just refuse to allow the game to get away from them. That is a mark of a young team that will grow up. Whether it happens this series or not, I'm not sure. But I think that's a signature win for them that they will be able to carry, whether they win this series or not. I don't think it's important for them to win this series to validate where they are going. Winning that game showed me something.
Yeah, I want to hear them talk about it. I want you guys to hear OKC talk about this game last night. First, we're going to hear from the head coach, and then we're going to hear from the star of the story, so to speak. Here's OKC post-game.
There's a balance that you have to find. When to attack, when to pass, when to make the right play, when to not make the right play, and trust your skill. Something that I battle with a lot and try to be really good at. And a lot of great players battle with it and try to be really good at it. But ultimately, it just comes down to, for the most part, taking what the defense gives you and trusting your teammates. You need them to win at a high level, and that's clear as day. And I want to win at a high level, so I have no option.
When you're that talented, the balance of your own aggression and your own confidence and the trust, the functionality, the early plays to your teammates is very difficult to strike. That's just hard to strike. And that's why players usually don't strike that very early in their careers. If you look at any great scorer, usually they develop that. Irving, I think, is a great example that's developed that over time. He has a great blend, of his offense and his teammates' offense, and his team plays better because of that. And he's obviously a veteran player that's got a lot of experience. Shai's on that path, but he's on an accelerated path there. He's still a very young player for somebody as accomplished as he is, and that's why it's so impressive to me.
All right, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 25 years old. I got the order wrong. We heard from and saw, those watching on Peacock TV, you saw Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and you'll never be the same if you saw what we just saw. First of all, is that real? I know he's got a ton of money. The necklace, bruh, is the necklace real? Because sometimes rich people will wear stuff that's not real because they will get credit for it being real because you think, hey, they rich, it's real. So they go out and just in case somebody snatch it, they might be snatching a fake. You think that's real, or you think that's like a little knockoff, Vinny?
I don't think you're going on TV with something fake. Now, that could be the case, right? It could. Okay. It could very well be the case. I'm not going to ask him to check his chain in for me to figure out. You know what I mean? Like, this is not. I'm not a certain former NBA player who checks in with 15-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like, that ain't my thing. So, like, I will say, if the chain is as real as his game is, then it's very real. You know what I mean? It's very real. Like, you're not going to wear fake jewelry to the playoffs, are you?
You won't? Hey,
I don't think so. I don't think so.
And how do you feel also? How do you feel? And I'm trying to get past this. No judgment zone. But I struggle with this. He struggles. Shai struggles with like trying to find that right balance. I struggle with the judgment when I see people wearing sunglasses inside. It's just like, I mean, if you ain't Stevie Wonder, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, what we doing? Like, how do you feel about the sunglasses inside? Because he's got that going. Jalen Brown has started that lately. It's like the last few weeks I've noticed the sunglasses inside look. How you feel about that?
Well, the question is, how does Boston feel about that with Jalen Brown? You know what I mean? There's always a tedious relationship with Boston and its athletes and how, they comport themselves.
This ain't Boston. This ain't a Boston thing.
I was just asking.
Boston feels pretty good right now about Jalen Brown and everybody else. They're up 3-1.
Okay.
Hey, now,
okay.
Lose a game, then, it's a different conversation. It's a tough place. Tough place, man. They keep you on your toes here in Boston.
No, I don't.
You like that look?
I don't trip on the sunglasses. Look, man.
Would you do it?
This is a different generation.
Have you ever done it? Just show up, press conference, sunglasses. Vinny Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. One more question.
I have glasses that may look like sunglasses depending on, the amount of sunlight. They are, just stylish glasses, but they have transition lenses in them. So depending on the inside-outside contrast of light, it may appear like sunglasses, but they're not. So I will not sit here and be holy and say, oh no, I would never wear, non-prescription glasses indoors. If you got it like that, wear it.
If you got it like that. Maybe that's the issue. I just don't have it like that. I'm going to try, though. Next time I see you, Vinny, I'm going to come on the show with sunglasses on. I'm going to do the whole show. I'm not going to mention it. I'm not going to be self-conscious about it. It's going to just a regular conversation like we're having right now. I'm going to have my sunglasses on. Let's see if I can pull it off.
Don't do that. Look. You mentioned Stevie Wonder. Monday was Stevie Wonder's 74th birthday. He landed in Ghana to receive his citizenship, and he wore sunglasses. Indoors, outdoors, no matter what. Like, we not Stevie Wonder. It's okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I wonder, I do wonder, and I didn't even do that on purpose. I do wonder where this series is headed. Next series I want to talk about is Knicks, Pacers. Because the last time I saw you, Vinny, Knicks were up 2-0, feeling pretty good. Jalen Brunson looking like a first-team All-NBA player, which I still think he is. Fantastic. And then, what did I talk about at the beginning of the show? Ooh, my arm. Ooh, my foot. Ooh, my knee. The Knicks are just dropping. They're dropping. And they've got a soldier of a coach, a general of a coach who will, if you're out there, hey, get ready. Yeah, Josh Hart played 10 straight quarters without a break. I mean, this is what he does. This is what Tom Thibodeau does. Like old school, he would be one of those football coaches who would be told, hey, coach, the guys need water. They need water breaks. You can't just keep pressing them. But anyway, the Knicks are banged up. They got a short rotation. Since being up 2-0, they lost a close game, very winnable game in Game 3. Took a 31-foot three-pointer to beat them. And then Game 4, I don't know what that was. They got blown out, one of the worst losses in Knicks playoff history. So here we are, Game 5, back at the Garden. I can't call it, man. You tell me. You got Knicks, you got Pacers. Flip a coin, flip a ball. I don't know. What do you think?
Hey, man, look, who has the bodies? Like, that's the question that I have. And I think I know the answer to the question. Who has the bodies? The Pacers have the bodies. The Pacers have the healthier bodies. And a lot of times the playoffs come down to who has the guys who can stand upright. And it doesn't mean that the Pacers are better than the Knicks. Like, I think we can all agree that the Knicks are a better ball club. When you factor in the Julius Randles and the Mitchell Robinsons and all the other guys and OG Anunoby, like, you're talking about 3 bona fide starters that the Knicks are down. If you tell me that those guys are around, I'll tell you that not only are the Knicks going to the Eastern Conference Finals, they're going to give the Boston Celtics a pretty damn good run for their money. But those are not the circumstances that we're dealing with. Those aren't the circumstances that we're seeing. We're seeing that the Indiana Pacers, they play with pace. They're forcing the Knicks to get up and down the floor. The Knicks run a slide on offense. The Pacers do not. You know what I mean? So while Josh Hart can play 10 straight quarters and all that can look and sound cute, go talk to Josh Hart's legs. Go talk to Jalen Brunson, and give them some truth serum. Because they're going to say, yeah, we're playing all the minutes. This is what's necessary. And the stars do play more minutes. The problem is, if you play 82 playoff games during the regular season, what do you have left during the playoffs? I think the bill is coming due on that right now. Look, the Pacers have a rightful case to say we should be up 3-1 right now. You can make the argument they got hosed in New York City, and they should be coming to New York to close out this series.
They've continued to make that argument.
As would I. I just think it's gamesmanship. I think it's old school Pat Riley, Phil Jackson, Chuck Daly gamesmanship, the way that we used to see it during David Stern's NBA. Adam Silver doesn't like it, but these are the movies that we've grown up watching, right? So now you're going to Madison Square Garden off of a blowout win and a close win. So you've seen you can win in adverse circumstances. You can win when it's a track meet. They're going to go in as confident as they possibly can be, while also saying, look, NBA, you can't hose us again. You know what I mean? Like, y'all can't hose us again because the eyes of the world are upon you tonight. Like, make sure your reps are on point. I'm going to give the advantage to the Indiana Pacers tonight.
Wow.
Simply because they have the bodies, not because they're the better team. I know Knicks fans are going to hear this, and they're going to be all in the videos, all in the comments, saying that you're a hater, you hate the Knicks, everybody hate the Knicks. Ain't nobody saying that. Don't nobody hate the Knicks. I want to be in New York in the springtime. New York is very much more fun than Indianapolis in the springtime. I lived in New York.
You think so?
I like it. Very much slightly, right? You know what I mean? New York is a great place to kick it. So when people think, oh, y'all just hating on the Knicks, ain't nobody hating on the Knicks. When I said, look, you know what else I said, Michael Holley? I said Jalen Brunson's numbers are better than what he is. You know what I mean? Like him averaging 38 a night on the efficiency that he was doing it for a short period of time.
Sure,
and it had him in the conversation with Michael Jordan. No. We're not doing this.
Jordan.
We're not doing
not
this.
Jordan.
We're not doing this.
Not Jordan.
Look, dude. Look, Michael. No. We're not doing this, Michael. We're not doing this.
Okay, wait.
Okay?
No. You know what? Ooh, you just gave me an idea, and I'm gonna skip the order because I had a thought in my head of like how I want, topics I wanted to hit, but you just kind of made me just rearrange some things with something you just said there. Now, obviously, nobody is going to compare Jalen Brunson to Michael Jordan. Not the most orange and blue Knicks fan, not the most every injured player coming back is Willis Reed. Nobody is going to do that. But I called him earlier. I called him a first-team All-NBA player. Do you think he's that? I do. Do you think he's that legitimately?
No. Because if he's an All-NBA first-team player, you got to tell me who you're taking off. If there's only 5 guys, whether you're doing it by positions or you're doing it just 5 NBA players, like I had a ballot, and as well as Jalen Brunson played, he was on my second team. And that's no knock to Jalen Brunson
who was on your first?
At all.
Who were the guards in your first? Shai and who else?
I believe Luka Doncic.
Okay. Okay.
You tell me who I'm taking off. The second and third guys on the MVP ballot. You tell me. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not taking off Shai.
As well as
now.
exactly.
The hater
You
in
taking
me
off
would
Luka?
take off Luka. The hater in me would, but the hate. But that's just hating, Michael. That's hating. That's when I come in with my sunglasses on, and I'm like, look, Brunson's better than Luka. What? You got something to say about it? Next.
Yeah, that's
This
hate.
chain is
That's
real,
hate.
by the way. This chain is real.
That's pure hate.
No, but I couldn't. No, I agree with you. He is playing. He's at that level, though. I think he is at that level. Look, you can't replace those guys. I think he is a legit superstar player. He is a superstar, and the way we talk about him is almost insulting. You know, it's
let's
like,
hear this. Let's hear this.
well, it's like that underrated. Hey, you know, no, he's underrated. He's an underdog. You know, nobody really gives him his due. But look at what he's doing. No, that's not a compliment. The problem is no one has given him his due, and he is a star. He's been a star since college. So the league missed it. He was underdrafted. Some guys are overdrafted. He was underdrafted. He was there in Dallas. And I know you're playing with Luka. But yeah, you can have two stars on the team. They have it now. They got Luka and Kyrie. They got two stars on their team. They didn't realize they had a star. Dallas missed him. And now I think New York is.
But
yeah, they did. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay. Here's to me, it's about fit. It's about fit to me. And when you look at Jalen Brunson's usage and you look at Luka Doncic usage, those two guys couldn't exist on the same team, controlling the amount of possessions that they do. And you're not going to tell Luka Doncic to not have as many possessions. You know what I mean? Even though I don't think it's necessarily the greatest use of his talent, I don't think it is optimal to have a backcourt with both players. Like their usage is right around 33. That means it literally leaves maybe 20 possessions during the course of a game where those guys aren't starting it or finishing it. And I don't think that's a way to run a real championship team. And I think the emergence of Jalen Brunson has happened because you've given him the ball and you've told him, hey, this is your team, run the team. That was never going to happen in Dallas. You know what I mean? That's, you know, I compare that to some degree. To some degree, I'm going to take you in the Wayback Machine because you're from Cleveland. Cleveland had a point guard named Mark Price. Then they had a point guard named Kevin Johnson.
Yes.
Right? And they had to trade Kevin Johnson to Phoenix for Kevin Johnson to blossom into the player that he was going to blossom into. Like just because it happened somewhere else doesn't mean that you missed the boat. Sometimes, you know what, this is our guy. Mark Price is our guy, and maybe you make the case that Kevin Johnson's better than Mark Price. Okay, cool. I'm there with you. But it doesn't always mean that the fit was going to happen at the first place. Sometimes it takes getting to that next spot to fully realize, to fully actualize the opportunity that's in front of you. And the last point I'm going to make, and I'm very, very serious about this.
Okay.
Because I like Jalen Brunson a lot.
Oh,
in the modern NBA.
This
in
is
the
some
modern
hatred about to
NBA.
come.
No,
I know
it's
this
not.
setup. No, go ahead.
No, it's not. This is not no disrespect and then all the disrespect comes behind it. No. That's not it at all. In the modern NBA, and I use modern NBA as 4 playoff rounds, 7-game series on from the second round since 1984. So it's 40 years. There have been 2 little men, so to speak, 2 little men to lead their teams to an NBA championship. 2. And basically 1.5. Yes, championships. But almost 1.5 if you think about it. Isaiah Thomas at 6'1", and Steph Curry at 6'3". And Steph Curry's like a long and lanky 6'3" if we think about it. Like, he ain't no short dude.
He ain't
you know
little.
what I mean? He ain't little. He's not the big dude. But if you put him next to LeBron James, you put him next to Kevin Durant, he looks like a little dude. You know what I mean? But in that realm, do I consider Jalen Brunson in that realm, in that echelon? No, I agree with you that he is a superstar, especially a superstar for the New York Knicks. I agree with you that he has been much better and much greater of a ball player than any of us could have ever expected or anticipated. But come on now. I'm not going to say that Dallas would be better with him because Kyrie can operate in smaller opportunities. Jalen Brunson is probably better when he has the whole plate in front of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's no fault. They're just two different types of ball players.
Do you think? Let's see if we can meet here, because what you say makes sense. Okay, it makes a lot of sense. Do you think that Jalen Brunson could be the best player on a championship team? Because I do.
In today's NBA,
yeah.
You got to tell me who his second best player is.
All right. Who do you talk to a Knicks fan? They always want somebody. They always want somebody in free agency or trade. Hey, trade for that guy. Come on, come to New York. It's the greatest place, the world's most famous arena. The whole thing. The second best player.
I don't think it's impossible.
Huh?
I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's likely in today's NBA. Let me just say that. I don't think it's likely.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to think of somebody. He's. Tell me who this guy is. So he's got to have some size. Give me, like modern NBA size. I ain't talking about 7'1". I'm talking about 6'8", 6'9", can defend, shoot the three, good score. When Jalen is giving you 35.
You mean OG Anunoby?
22. No.
Did
Better.
Did you just profile OG Anunoby?
Better, though. Got somebody better.
Okay, if Jalen Brown is his second best player,
okay.
If Jalen Brown is his second best player, let me ask you, is that the second best player that you could find for Jalen Brunson and say, I'm a championship team?
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't bet against them. I wouldn't bet against that. That's a nice one because it slots everybody else. It slots everybody else properly. Now you're not asking Josh Hart to give you 18 rebounds. You're not asking so much from Anunoby. You're not asking so much from even Mitchell Robinson. And then you still have Randall. Yeah, that could be a championship team. Interesting. Now that's a setup. But we're just talking about a small space. We're talking about Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks. I want to ask you this, you, NBA historian. I want to ask you this question. This is where the category that I pushed up when you started talking about NBA history. Because Nikola Jokic won his third MVP in the last 4 years. And Vinny, you know this. There are some people who have won an MVP in the regular season. There are some guys who have won a couple of MVPs in the regular season, but three-time winners are rare. And you're talking about the likes of Magic, you're talking about Bird, Jordan, Kareem, Bill
Jordan
Russell.
Didn't even win 3 in 4 years.
But I'm just talking about 3. Just winning 3 is rare. Just winning 3. 3 MVPs is special. That's an elite club. And I wonder, because there's so much debate about Jokic, I'm one of the guys, just to tell you where I stand up front, I think he's that dude. I really do. But historically, if you look at all of these guys who have at least 3 MVPs, and some of them have more, is Nikola Jokic, is he at the end of the table because they got to check a box and okay, you did it, come on in, or is he just fine? Not necessarily. We know who's at the head of the table. It's either Jordan or Wilt or Russell or Kareem, like one of those guys. But if he's sitting next to the head of the table, is he out of place? How do you? And essentially, what I'm getting at is, where do you put Nikola Jokic historically now that he has reached this historic milestone?
I think he's knocking on the door. I think it's hard to deny what he's done. The 3 MVPs in 4 years, especially when the second closest competition is another generational center in Joel Embiid, and he has cleared that field. I think even you're seeing it this year. He's in a place I like to call the Elijah zone, the place where, you're looking up and all of a sudden you're down 2-0. You're facing insurmountable odds against a team that is built to beat you, that has 3 big dudes that they want to beat you up and beat you down. I think if he reaches a second NBA championship this year, I think that puts him in the category. Like, it's hard to put him with Kareem because I think it's hard for us to contextualize Kareem, right?
Right.
Because so much of it people didn't see. And then so much of it was associated with the Lakers of the 80s where Magic won Kareem won you know what I mean? That type of thing. But when you win 3 MVPs in a modern NBA, that's up there with Larry Joe Bird. You know what I mean? And Larry Bird has 3 MVPs, 3 championships. Magic has 3 MVPs, 5 championships. So he's got a ways to go. But I think he can get to the door in a way that other people wouldn't even, like, maybe he passes David Robinson. You know what I mean? In that way. Like, David Robinson was an exceptional player. But I think that he will put himself in the Hakeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan category with a second championship and 3rd MVP.
Yeah, and you know what, Vinny, you know this. When you get to that 3rd, like that, okay, you want to bring out the haters. I want you to do 2 things. Okay, if you're an NBA player and you say, "Well, where are the haters? People are so friendly around here. I don't understand what you're talking about, haters." Do 2 things. Go ahead and win 3 MVPs in a short span, and the haters will come out. Or mess around and be unanimous MVP. Okay, mess around and do that because it just brings up so many arguments and so many debates. Like I remember, so this is where age works out well for you. Because I do remember the NBA where Larry Bird was back-to-back MVP. Now, Dennis Rodman took it too far of your Pistons. Dennis Rodman took it too far. After those 3 MVPs, the tail end of those, Dennis Rodman says, "Hey, if Larry Bird's just a brother, he'd be another player. But now, because he's white, you guys are hyping him up." And so there was that kind of sentiment of a rare, like elite white player in a predominantly black league. Okay, there was that. But then there was just the anti-top guy. Oh, you want 3 straight? Come on, you good? You ain't that good. And so I think that's gonna come out of a lot of people anyway. But I will say this, with distance, history is usually kind to these guys. History is kind to the 3-time MVPs. I mentioned a list earlier. Nobody has to apologize for being there. Nobody was there by accident. Nobody you look back and say, how did Kareem make it? How did Russell get 3? How did Wilt get 3? And I think we'll appreciate Jokic with time. Those who don't appreciate him now. I'm one of those.
I'm saying we don't appreciate, we don't appreciate it now.
I think you know what it is? It's the aesthetic. If you're not used to the aesthetic, it might throw you off. If you like look, we all know like the Jordan, not just Jordan, Dominique, Anthony Edwards, the high flyer, the explosive, the 41, 42-inch vertical guy, oh my God, how did that happen guy? Even like a Kyrie with the wizardry and the dribbling. And they don't make commercials. There ain't no Questlove commercial with Nikola Jokic doing a no-look pass. There was a commercial with Kyrie and the dribble to the drums. Okay, that's dope. So you might get caught up in the very thoughtful, at times esoteric aesthetic of Jokic, and you'd be like,
Big
yeah,
words.
How great is that? How great is that? I don't know. But if you watch him,
no. I will tell you this. There was a group of us scribes, I'll say, and a couple of them were far more experienced than me. I'll say that. We were on the same row in Minneapolis for Game 4. Well, I'm in Denver right now for Game 5. And on one end, Anthony Edwards would just do something that would remind you of a player whose name we don't have to name, right?
That's right.
He would just do something.
Yeah.
And I would grab the person's shoulder next to me like, oh my God, did you just see that? And then Jokic would, do like one of those Magic Johnsons, look left, throw right. And the most experienced on the press row, I would just look down and he just had his head down, just shaking his head, laughing. You know what I mean? You just shake your head laughing. So I think that there is a great appreciation for Nikola Jokic. I wonder, and I do know there are some people that look at him and may not see, like you said, from an aesthetic standpoint, but I feel like most people really do appreciate him, especially when you look at the MVP margins that he's won by. Like these MVPs haven't been close. Like last year, the conversation got toxic. Don't get me wrong. Kendrick Perkins and JJ Redick made the conversation very toxic when you talked about, extreme race on the other end and extreme denial on the other end. And truth be told, it lies somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean? It's definitely some schools of thought that says, hey man, if a white guy's good, we're going to give him an extra push. You know what I mean? Like we've seen that in basketball, we've seen that in other sports, right? We saw that to a large degree back then. It's just, you ain't giving that guy no extra push. You're not giving Larry Bird no extra push. That ain't the guy that we need to be talking about getting the extra push here. He don't need it because he's that good. Like he is legit that good, that great, and he is at the absolute peak of his powers. And I'm very curious. I am so curious because I got a feeling the NBA Finals will be in Denver and Boston this year. And I'm so curious how the basketball world will respond. I'm wondering if Boston will give Nikola Jokic a standing ovation when he walks through the building.
Why? Why are you wondering that? Huh? Why are you wondering that?
They appreciate great basketball. They appreciate
look, man,
great basketball.
See, like I talked to Washburn about this. A couple weeks ago. He said, hey, especially during the finals, we're all going to get together. We're going to have a dinner. And, Gary Washburn, myself, A. Sherrod Blakely, we have to show you all a Boston that you have not seen. You have not seen, a Boston that you have not witnessed. You all get caught up in the mainstream Boston, TV Boston, headline Boston. We're going to take you to another Boston.
I've been to Black Boston. I've been to Darrow's. You know what I mean? I've hung out in Black Boston. I've been to a few places. I don't know if I hung out in New Edition Boston, but I've been I've been in Black Boston before. You know what I mean?
Shout out Orchard Park.
I don't know if I've been in Roxbury. You know what I mean? But I've hung out in Boston before.
Come on
Ain't
now.
the worst place in the world. I like picking with Boston because I know Boston is so sensitive. That's all.
Yeah,
it's just a joke. That's all. It's hilarious though.
And I am sensitive on behalf of Boston.
Why you?
I am
Cleveland. What you sensitive on behalf of Boston for?
Hey, I'll tell you why. Because this is. I thought about this the other day because this is like, and there's certain cities like this. They're all cousins. New York, Boston, Philly. They're multi-generations. So an Eagles fan ain't no Eagles fan who just like, hey, I became an Eagles fan 5 years ago. No. You're an Eagles fan. Your grandma was an Eagles fan. Your great-grandma was an Eagles fan. Same thing, like New York, the Yankees. It's just like it's passed down. It's an heirloom. Okay. So in Boston, the thing is, hey, you're not from here. And then it's like kind of like the skepticism. So when I hear that, and it's funny because I hear it from somebody who's like 25, I'm like, but I've been here longer than you've been alive. Okay. I am from here. Damn it. My wife is from here. My kids got Tatum and Brown jerseys. Okay, I pay taxes up in this piece. I'm from here. I'm a Bostonian, damn it. I'm claiming.
Why do you have them rooting for failures?
What? What? Excuse me?
You got them having Tatum and Brown jerseys. They ain't winning no
What?
titles.
Oh, you one of those guys?
I'm just messing with you.
Oh, man. Oh, you were one of those?
I'm just joking.
Oh.
I'm just joking.
Oh, man. Oh, Benny. Oh, that's
I just want to throw you off guard. That's all. I just want to throw you off guard. But
you did mention, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this since you mentioned Boston. Very, very briefly, because the series, I got to be honest with you, it's not compelling to me at all. The Celtics are up 3-1 on the Cavaliers. I watched all the games. I don't know what was happening. They were probably my third screen. I was going to say, forget about that second screen, probably third or fourth screen. I just wasn't engaged in the game. So they won last night. They're up 3-1. And I don't even want to talk to you about Boston. I want to talk to you about Donovan Mitchell. Because he didn't play last night. He sat there watching what I thought was Cleveland's best game of the series. I know what they did in game 2, made all those shots, but that's not them. I thought defensively last night, I thought they were excellent. I thought they played a good, consistent start to they got the most out of what was available to them last night, and it was pretty good for them, and they still lost because they're just not good enough. But Donovan Mitchell sitting out, do you think they need to get used to that sight in Cleveland, but not Mitchell on their sideline, Mitchell on another team? Because do you think that he's going to go somewhere else, that he will demand a trade somewhere else?
I don't know for sure, right? And it's very hard to say because I like Donovan Mitchell personally. He's always been, a stand-up guy. He's always said the right things and done the right things and known how to read the room. I've never come across him and he said or done the wrong thing. I will say this. He was drafted in 2017. This will be going into year 8, I believe, for him next season. Usually stars or superstars, they're usually at a place, they're usually at a place in their career where they of their own choosing, right? Whether it is through their draft or through, the second contract. Usually this is where you get to where you want to go. And when Donovan asked out of Utah, everybody knows he wanted to go to the Knicks. And that trade didn't happen. He went to Cleveland. I don't know if the Knicks are a place for him right now, but I don't know what Donovan Mitchell actually wants now. Now, this is where it gets fun. LeBron James was sitting courtside with Rich Paul and his wife, and he had water, wine, and coffee at the game. That's an interesting setup to have underneath your seat. You got a bottle of wine. Yeah, I don't. Are you trying to stay sober, trying to stay hydrated, and get drunk at the same time? I have no clue. And be wired, right?
Right. Stay awake.
That feels so antithesis to everything, right? But I think it's the rumors are going to start. Will Donovan Mitchell ask for a trade to Brooklyn because it's New York adjacent? Will the Los Angeles Lakers make a bid? Was LeBron James there?
Was that a shot, by the way? Were you taking a shot at Brooklyn?
No. What you mean?
What do you mean New York adjacent? It is New York. What do you mean New York adjacent?
Yeah, but I mean like Madison Square Garden adjacent. I don't mean, you know what I mean? That wasn't a knock. That definitely wasn't a knock.
Come on now. Don't mess with Brooklyn now. No. You can go at Boston. You trying to go at Boston. Don't go at Brooklyn.
No,
nah. You don't want Brooklyn to get
I don't need Flatbush on me. You know what I mean? I don't need Flatbush on me when I come to New York. No. But no, it's just, it's Knicks and Jay, I suppose. You know what I mean? But I think he's at an interesting point in his career because, the procedure, that he had, it slowed him down for a minute. And now he's dealing with a calf strain. You're looking at basketball mortality in a way. So you're looking at it and saying, maybe I don't have time to waste. If I want to play meaningful basketball in a place I want to be in, for a franchise I want to be at. And he's an excellent player in this NBA where players have the opportunity to pick their location. So I think he's going to take an evaluation this summer. I think Trae Young's going to take an evaluation this summer. And I think Donovan Mitchell's better than Trae Young. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really think that that's a close contest, but I think Donovan Mitchell is better than Trae Young. And I think Donovan Mitchell's going to look around and say, what's the best opportunity for me? Because what you don't want to do, what you don't want to be, is you don't want to be Bradley Beal. You don't want to wait too long staying in one place and you get all the money and you get the no trade clause and then the injuries pile up and you wind up getting to the place 2 years too late and you can't be the best version of yourself. Like we talk all the time and bag on guys. We bag on the Kevin Durant's for moving around and not staying and everything else. Around where they were in the prime of their career, where they could still access the top level. They could still access the top shelf. If you're a guy like Brad Beal, and Bradley Beal's only 30, he ain't old, but those injuries pile up and add up. So this is where you understand the player empowerment element of the NBA. You've got a finite amount of time to make money and a finite amount of time to get to where you want to get to play championship level basketball. The question is, where will that be? Because if this season ends at the hands of the Boston Celtics, the Cleveland Cavaliers will have won a grand total of one playoff series since acquiring Donovan Mitchell.
Wow. One playoff series since acquiring Donovan Mitchell. One playoff series, only one playoff series without LeBron James since 1993. Only one. I mean, that's just that's incredible. What a stat. So you mentioned LeBron. Do you think LeBron is does he opt out and go back to Cleveland another time? Does he stay with the Lakers and hire his podcaster coach in JJ Redick? Because, you know, this podcasting thing, Vinny, I don't know, man. You're doing great. You're doing great in this space. Keep it up. And maybe there's a coaching gig there for you as well. What do you think? What do you think LeBron will do with his next step?
I mean, we've always known that everything LeBron does is strategic, right? So him showing up in Cleveland last night on national television, knowing that the video is going to be played over the Jumbotron, he's going to get the standing ovation, he's going to get the love and all of that type of stuff. But remember, I told you about the Pistons and Monty Williams. Remember I told you? I think I told you this. I said, look, man, you ask a woman on a date 3 times, she say no. You don't keep asking, you move on. The same thing. You don't let somebody leave you twice, let alone 3 times. Okay? I'm not letting nobody leave. I'm not letting nobody. You got one time to leave me. Whether it's my fault or not, you got one time to leave me. Ain't gonna be no please, baby, please, baby, please. Ain't gonna be none of that. Okay? None of that. Now.
You ain't ever heard a song, Ain't Too Proud to Beg? You haven't heard that song? That's not in your playlist?
That definitely ain't in my playlist. Begging ain't over here. Look, I ain't never made, here's the thing. I've never made such a critical error in any situations where I gotta beg for forgiveness. So if somebody leave me, they leave me because they choose to. Go. That ain't, is that pride? Is that what that is?
Yeah. It might be pride. Okay. It might be pride. Yeah.
Hey, look, I'm learning from a married man here. I'm just the love doctor is sitting on the couch and learning from a married man. So I'm just, I get it. I'm learning. I appreciate
it's what you said. Listen, Vinny, you said the answer earlier. You just didn't know you had the answer. You thought you were talking about basketball, but you were talking about love earlier when you said, look, in the regular season, things are nice and pretty in the regular season, but there are times when it's rough, you gotta figure it out. And if that means begging once, twice, 4 times, if that's what it takes, that's what a brother does. Let me tell you, that's what you gotta do. Almost 17 years in July. I'm just trying to tell you, 17.
Look, hey, congratulations. I've never been in such a position before. You know what I mean? I'm just saying,
have.
if I've done something, I did it. I wanted to do it. I may apologize for it, and I'm moving on. We moving on. Whatever it is, like not doing the whole begging thing. Now back to LeBron. I think LeBron's problem is, if there is a problem, he has so many different objectives at this stage of his career. Right? He's in this never-ending chase of being recognized as better than Michael Jordan. And I don't think anybody's going to change their mind because he accumulates a few more stats at age 40 and 41, right? Put that to the side. He wants to compete for championships. He also wants to get paid the maximum amount of money, which those two things I'm not sure go hand in hand, because the older you get, the bigger your max is, which means the greater percentage of the salary cap that you take up, which means the less of an opportunity your franchise has to acquire players who can help you in the quest to win a championship. He also wants to dominate Hollywood. He also wants to get into that space, which is why he's in LA. He wants to play with his son. All of those things, that's like gumbo, like all those things don't work in concert. So you have to ask him, what matters the most to you at this stage of your career? And given whatever day it is, it could be playing with Bronny. It could be winning another championship. It could be passing Michael Jordan. You don't know, and that's the problem. You don't know.
Don't know. And could Coach J.J. Redick figure it out?
Give LeBron another rookie coach. Give LeBron another rookie coach that he has a great relationship with, right?
Eat him up.
Right. He has a great relationship with J.J. Redick. So you know what that means? Those other 10 players, 11 players in the locker room, they're going to be looking real funny in the light. They're going to be asking, who coaching this team? Is it you, coach? Or is it you, LeBron?
They already know. They already know. Hey, who was coaching the team last? Did they have to ask who was coaching the team last year? Or the year before?
They did have to ask who was coaching the team last year. They did. That was the problem.
Like LeBron's the coach. LeBron's been the coach. LeBron's the coach. He doesn't have the title. He doesn't have the title, but he's got the position. He's been that guy for a long time. No disrespect to you, Frank Vogel. You got your championship with the Lakers, but LeBron let you. LeBron let you have it. I mean, come on, man. Look at all these. Hey, LeBron didn't coach well in 2003. He was under 500. That's the only time LeBron's been. He didn't coach well in 18-19. That was his first year. He was hurt though. Didn't he miss all those games at the end?
Yeah. I mean, but you look at those names. Right? Do any of those names jump out to you as being exceptional coaches? Like David Blatt damn near called a timeout that he didn't have in the playoff game. I was there. I saw it. He pulled a Chris Webber until Tyronn Lue pulled him back and said, "Hey man, we ain't got no timeouts." So I look at those names. Paul Silas, who was already older, God bless his soul. Paul Silas, one of the toughest men you ever come across.
Yeah, that's right.
But I don't look at that. I don't look at those names, Luke Walton and Frank Vogel, who just got fired in Phoenix after one year. I don't look at those names and I'm like, look, if LeBron fired them, right? If LeBron got somebody fired, I'm not saying he did get him fired, but I'm also not saying that it was the wrong choice. You know what I mean? Okay. Like the two best coaches he had were probably the two best coaches in basketball, Tyronn Lue and Eric Spoelstra, and he won championships with them.
Well, what he needs to do, if that's the trend, first of all, they need more players because they don't have a championship roster. Sorry, they don't.
Agreed.
But if they bring in some championship players and, hey, general manager James, why not find the brightest, the best coach? Like Coach Bud, who just got a job with the Suns. Hey, Mike Budenholzer, he'd be a nice coach. He'd be a nice coach for the Lakers. Like, that's it. What? You don't like him?
For who? What's the difference between Mike Budenholzer and Frank Vogel?
Winning.
Frank Vogel won a championship.
Oh, okay. He won a championship too. Mike Budenholzer won about 70% of his games in Milwaukee
Right.
and got fired.
Right. Because you want to know why? You want to know why? Because I've seen a Mike Budenholzer team take a 2-0 lead in the Eastern Conference Finals against a Kawhi Leonard Toronto Raptors where Kawhi was on one damn leg and he lost the next 4. I saw him go into the bubble, the same bubble that Frank Vogel's Lakers won a championship in. I saw him go into the bubble. Oh man, what happened? They lost in the second round to the Miami Heat. I also saw Mike Budenholzer team last year in the first round of the playoffs, losing 5 games to an 8th seed, Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat. I also saw Mike Budenholzer in the second round of the playoffs with Giannis lose to the Boston Celtics as defending champions. So yes, mixed around that one achievement, that one shining achievement where you beat 5'11" Trae Young in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? On your way there, right? No, seriously. If not for Kyrie Irving and his ankle, if not for James Harden and his hamstring, that Milwaukee Bucks team would have got blown out in the second round to the Brooklyn Nets. He'd have been fired.
Bring up the shoe.
The foot.
Bring up the shoe size.
Hey, look. Remember, man. Natalie's gonna come down from the rafters talking about she don't want to hear about no shoe size. We better watch it.
And I'm with her.
All right.
I'm on her side. I don't want to hear about his shoe size.
But here's my larger point. My larger point is his team's largely underachieved. And I look at Frank Vogel up until this season, I felt like Frank Vogel's teams, especially in Indiana, they largely overachieved.
Okay. All right. So here's the final thing, because I know you got some podcasting to do, and hey, who knows? General managers are out there, players and general managers are out there saying, hey, why not Vinny Goodwill? Why not give him a shot to lead our team? Hey, maybe Portland, Charlotte.
I mean, Detroit has an opening for president of basketball operations. If there was any job to get me to quit doing what I'm doing now, I'd be president of basketball operations for the Detroit Pistons. I'd do that. I'd lead that franchise.
It's funny how we're on the same page, and it's just uncanny because my final word is connected to Detroit. And I just want you to acknowledge the beauty, the turnaround that the Detroit Lions have given this gift that it is given to Detroit, Michigan, and Football America. Not only have the Lions gone from a doormat to a real contender, not only have the Lions turned into one of the great draft and developed teams in the league, the Lions are paying. They spend money in free agency. Jared Goff, you see this contract is unbelievable. $170 million guaranteed. There's got to be a loophole. There's got to be some small print. There's got to be something. At expiration, this deal expires at the end of May. I don't know what it is. $170 million guaranteed to Jared Goff. The Detroit Lions are a model franchise, not just in the NFL, but in all of sports. What do you have to say about your Detroit Lions, a team for which you have so much respect?
Why do you have to take it so far? That's why you keep trying to hold that laugh, man. That's why y'all, you see what he's doing? He is emotionally gaslighting y'all. That's what he's doing. You got to be careful about people who emotionally gaslight. He called the Detroit Football Lions one of the best run teams in professional sports. Now
they are.
Now they've won a grand total of 2 playoff games since 1992. All right. Now those 2 playoff games happened this year.
How many have they won since 2023? How many?
Like I said, they've won 2 playoff games, and both of them happened in this past calendar year. They get a round of applause from that. Take it too far. You take it too far. You take it too far. Now, I will say this. When Jared Goff arrived in Detroit via the Matt Stafford trade and the swaps and the picks and everything else, I was like, okay, the Lions called him a bridge quarterback. The Lions called him that. The Lions said, this is that is going to bridge us to the next generation. And through that first season, man, look, there were a lot of people who were very frustrated with Jared Goff. Dan Campbell was one of them, right? Like there were games where he deserved to get pulled. And you can tie the Detroit Lions resurgence almost around with Dan Campbell and Ronnie Bass himself. They have done such an excellent job in remaking that roster almost strictly through the draft, right? That's how you build in the NFL. You build through the draft. You don't really
They've
build
done a
through
great
free
job.
agency. They've done an absolute masterful
The official team of
job.
Brother from Another.
I don't know what that means. I can't abide by that.
We were an expansion team just 4 years ago. We were an expansion team, and we are inspired by the rise of the Detroit Lions. We aspire to be the Detroit Lions, the modern Detroit Lions. Leave the Fords out of it. The modern Detroit Lions of this broadcasting space.
See, you know what it is? See, once again, folks, emotional gaslighting. You know, my most enduring memory of Jared Goff was before the past 2 years. It was being in the Super Bowl, he and Sean McVay being worked by Bill Belichick, being worked by all the audibles and the shifts in the last 15 seconds of the play clock.
You in the Super Bowl.
Jared Goff, no, I'm saying.
That's happened to many of us.
I said enduring before this season. Like the header, look at the header. The Jared Goff comeback story. I am impressed with his resilience. I'm impressed with his growth. I really am. I'm impressed. You're not getting me back on that narcotic. I left July 27, 1999. I ain't never coming back. But I'm impressed and I'm happy for the Lions fans. I'm happy that the Lions rewarded this man and recognized all that he has done for this franchise. Because for a bridge quarterback, he ain't bad. Like, I wouldn't call him a top 6 quarterback in the NFL or anything like that. But for what he has done for that franchise, his importance to the franchise, he deserves every penny of his money.
Yeah, I love that quote. I love that quote from Dan Campbell after they won their first playoff game. Hey, Jared Goff, you're good enough for Detroit, Jared Goff. Yes, he is, and so are you, Vinny Goodwill. Detroit is proud of you, and Detroit wants you to root for the Lions again. So next time we see each other, you know, can you give me like a Lions
when I
shirt?
When I leave relationships, I don't come back.
Lions hat?
No.
Lapel pin?
Tie clip?
Something.
No.
Barry Sanders jersey? Throwback.
Pro Bowl. Maybe I got one.
All right. Vinny Goodwill, always a pleasure, brother. Good to see you.
I'll never leave Barry Sanders. I'll leave the Lions.
Hey, that makes sense. Actually, I understand that. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.